Welcome back to Dialed In Angling. This week we are in western Minnesota, Ottertail County, a legendary place with thousands of lakes. I brought my wheelhouse up here. It is nasty cold. Randin Olson will be taking us out today from Lockjaw Guide Service. Randin's always on the fish. He's a friend, he's a fellow guide, and he's a great guy. I couldn't think of a better day to be inside a wheelhouse today.
It's gonna be really nice inside that Yeti. It's gonna be gorgeous. A lot better than sitting outside.
It's blowing, it's snowing. Let's get after it, my friend.
Let's do it.
I cannot wait. So about in here, huh?
Take a look, see what we got.
Ready? Yeah, 10 to 60, 70 feet, they just don't end. Cool, man. Well, let's get set up here. They'll be under the entire house, that's for sure. Here we go, we've got the holes drilled, we're all set up. I almost always drop the hitch of my wheelhouse, but I always leave the back up. That way when I slush, all the slush can go out to the sides and I spend way less time slushing holes that way. This week, we are chasing panfish and we're doing it with underwater cameras. You know, I've got 3 big screens set up here in my fish house. We're gonna be using a couple different camera styles. One is the Quest camera. It's got an HDMI output on the back. That way I can plug it into the big screen TV. We also have some handheld pursuit cameras that also you can hook up an HDMI cord up to the screen, high definition, fish coming at you. Look at this. I don't even have the camera set up yet. Look at the gills coming in. They love the camera. Unbelievable. Oh, I gotta get the panner set up. Unbelievable.
So using these cameras in the winter to see what you're doing, watch your baits work, seeing how fish are reacting to your baits. A lot of times you have to figure out what depth those fish are at and where to get that camera set. So you have settings on your camera. You can turn this camera up, you can face it down. Generally, I like a more level approach to it. I get to watch the fish react a little easier, and it's easier for me to watch that bait really work in the water. So I'm going to use my M1 to figure out what depth I'm going to set this at. You do have a depth recording on the camera itself, but this is a lot faster way just to know exactly that you're on top of those fish and you're right where you want to be. So we'll lower it down in the water here, and we're just going to kind of watch the M1. We'll watch this camera drop into the water column. So right here, you can see this camera going down. We can see the fish down here right in this kind of 14 to 18 foot. And we're gonna get right to the start of the fish right there. And we can obviously see on the camera, we got all the fish coming in to check it out. That's kind of the level we're gonna wanna be at. We wanna be at the top of that school. Those fish like to feed up. We wanna keep everything up and away from them. So what we're gonna do is kind of mark our level here, and we're gonna pull our panner out. Get that set in there, set our panner in the hole. Now we know we got it set right at the top side of that school, and we're ready to do some fishing.
All right, I got 2 rods rigged up right now. One plastic, one roach jig with the marabou. I've also have 2 bait pucks, one with Eurolarva, one with waxworms. We'll see which one works best. I am geared up and I am geeked up. I mean, look at all of these bluegills on camera. Unbelievable, Randin. This is the spot. I've never been more excited to drop my line in the water. Unreal.
Dialed In Angling, brought to you by Strike Master, Rapala, L&M Fleet Supply and DeWalt, and by Coors Light.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment.
Dave's back on.
Coors Light. Choose chill.
The lakes are locked. It's time to unlock them. No matter your mode of transport, your quarry, it takes a hole, the right hole, in the right spot, at the right time.
Oh man, look at that.
You need dependable, abundant power to match your motivation.
Yeah, baby!
The elements are hard enough. Don't fight it. Arm yourself with the cutting edge of the cutting edge. Arm yourself with Strike Master.
When it's time to eat, the VMC Rattling Roach Spoon calls them in. The spoon's design entices fish by combining its intense fluttering action with an exposed rattle chamber for maximum vibration. The Rattling Roach Spoon comes in 16 different colors, including UV bright and ultra glow options. Every spoon includes a marabou teaser tail, which conceals a tack-sharp VMC treble hook. Call the fish to you with the Rattling Roach Spoon. See it all at vmchooks.com.
It's that time again, anglers. Winter is here, and L&M Fleet Supply is ready to make this your best season ever. Head on into your favorite Northland location and browse our extensive collection of DeWalt tools and accessories, all guaranteed tough. Cut through the thickest ice with DeWalt's 20-volt cordless hammer drill. Brighten up your setup with the DeWalt handheld portable LED light. And stay entertained with the DeWalt Bluetooth speaker, weather-resistant, rugged, and ready for any adventure. Find guaranteed tough DeWalt quality products at L&M Fleet Supply. Quality at a discount.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment.
Dave's back on.
Coors Light. Choose chill.
Look at that thing. Wow. Big bass back there. Everything's in this basin. That one was aggressive. All different sizes here too. Doesn't matter to me, man. I just like catching them. That one came up hot. Huge, but super fun to watch. I've got two different camera angles. I've got one just a little bit deeper than the other. That way I can switch back and forth. I've got two rods ready to go. So if I start seeing them pop on this screen, that one's just slightly lower than this one. They are definitely biting. That one just happened to be on the roach jig. I couldn't think of a better way to spend a nasty winter day than inside the shack watching fish on the big screen.
On the rip and wrap.
I love the rip and wrap, the slab wrap.
Yeah.
A lot of times it calls them in, you know, if your fish start to go away, put a little rattle bait down there, it seems to just draw those fish back in. As you can see, a lot of our fish are moving away because the amount of pike that we keep seeing on our screen. So yeah, call them back in with that rip and wrap, that's for sure.
A lot of times if the bite slows a little bit or the fish get a little stale, I'll upsize my bait to like a rip and wrap, something, maybe a lipless crankbait, something a little bigger profile.
Yeah, I totally agree, Randin. The cool part about camera fishing is you can experiment. Upsizing, seeing how the fish react to different baits, that's what makes it super fun. I don't know which screen to watch.
Got that one.
Got the crappie?
Yep.
Nice.
Beautiful crappie.
That's great.
Ooh, crappie flop.
When you're fishing outside and you're hole hopping and you feel that first initial bite and you want to set the hook so bad, but you don't, and you wait and you feel that second strike, then they finally have it in their mouth. If you set it on the first strike, you miss them, well, you can see why right on camera. I mean, a lot of times they come up and just grab that bait and either just hold it in their mouth and wait, and then they'll take a second little bite to it.
All right, you don't need multiple underwater cameras hooked up to big screen TVs like this to catch fish like Tony and his buddy are doing today. But for our goal, trying to educate and help you learn, it's easier when we can see the fish. So let's break this down. They're fishing in a deep water basin. This is a muddy bottom, soft bottom. There's a lot of invertebrates, there's a lot of bugs. That's why the panfish are schooled up here. Northern bass, musky walleye, they are also out here feeding on the panfish. So the whole ecosystem is here. The fish are active, they're biting, and it's giving Tony and his buddy an opportunity to experiment with different lures and different jigging presentations to entice the fish. This right here is a larvae jig. We're gonna see it in action in a second. This has become a go-to bait for panfish, the VMC larvae jig, because this big eye. There's something about the eye that just really is irresistible to panfish. You can thread a worm over the hook, or you can dangle a few maggots like this. When you dangle it, they wiggle down there, and that's really enticing to the fish. Let's see what it looks like in action. All right, so Tony starts out, and he's got a pretty aggressive cadence here, right? He's got a few fish that are engaged, they're coming up, now he slows down. That one takes a swipe at it and misses it, but you notice he's just quivering the bait here, holding it at a level and slowly rising. It's the rise that typically gets these panfish to want to eat it. That is a perfect example. Here we go again. We've got multiple fish now engaged. He's slowing the presentation or the jig down, and once he starts to raise it up, that's when all these fish want it. Watch this. Here it goes, up, 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 boom. Those fish all want to eat it. On 2D sonar, that would be just your line rising up and another line coming over the top of it. This is a great way to learn. You don't need an underwater camera to catch fish like this. It just makes it a lot of fun.
Dialed In Angling, brought to you by Strike Master, Sportsman's Guide, Devil's Lake, North Dakota Tourism, and by Skidoo.
The lakes are locked. It's time to unlock them. No matter your mode of transport, your quarry, it takes a hole, the right hole, in the right spot, at the right time.
Oh man, look at that.
You need dependable, abundant power to match your motivation.
Yeah, baby.
The elements are hard enough. Don't fight it. Arm yourself with the cutting edge of the cutting edge. Arm yourself with Strike Master.
More than 50 years ago, right here in Minnesota, Sportsman's Guide made a commitment to work hard and treat customers fairly while outfitting them for outdoor success. Today, Sportsman's Guide continues to grow, selling the world's top outdoor brands at the very best prices, and they ship right to your front door. They also support America's veterans, shooting sports, women in the outdoors, and your favorite conservation organizations. For all of your outdoor needs, trust Sportsman's Guide. Hunting is more than my hobby. It's my family's way of life. At Walton's, it's their family's way of life too. That's why I trust products from Walton's to bring my wild game full circle. Walton sells supplies and equipment for any style of cooking, from spices to smokers, grinders to stuffers, and so much more. Hunting families like ours can trust Walton's. Walton's, everything but the meat.
At Otter, we are hole drillers, bacon cookers, cold gear campers, but most of all, we are people who enjoy being in the great outdoors in some of the coldest conditions on planet Earth. Crafted with a standard of quality you won't find anywhere else, we promise to always keep the quality you depend on and the innovation you have learned to expect. Otter, outdoors, for everyone.
Hey everybody, Bill Shirkin with this week's ice report. Sub-zero temps have us continuing to make good ice. We're going to start in North Dakota this week, where Landon Blanchfield, looks like you're on the ice. What's biting up at Devil's Lake?
Yeah, we've seen a lot of our rental houses, even with this weird weather. Our perch fishing's really improved over the last couple of weeks. Those have been really going strong, and we're starting to find a lot nicer walleyes, you know, in that shallow water right away in the morning, and you know, that last light in the evening.
Heading south down into South Dakota, Marcus Quam is also on the ice in the Webster area. What's your hottest bite right now?
Oh, you know, I would say we've both been getting perch and walleyes, but the weather that we've been having with this big cold snap, kind of been day to day. It just depends if you get on the right pot at the right time. I mean, we were 49 below zero with wind chill here the other day. You can definitely tell these fish were in a little bit of a mood, you know, so we got a handful of walleyes this morning. We've only got one perch so far. I've just been moving and trying to get on them. They're spooky, but you get on the right pot at the right time, both could be good.
Now transitioning to the land of 10,000 frozen lakes, Brian Beef Sather is keeping his eye on things in far northern Minnesota. You've had quite a week.
Oh my goodness. I'll tell you what, thank goodness I'm a big guy, because the wind was here this last weekend and it was blowing like crazy out there, but the resorts and all the guides did a phenomenal job of keeping things open.
Even with the wind and temps at 30 below zero, you're still catching some fish.
Absolutely. And it's not just like, it's not like Fast and Furious at times, you got to be honest. You know, sometimes I wish I could say, come on up, fill your buckets, it's awesome. But yeah, no, the weather patterns we've had, the cold fronts and the warm fronts and cold fronts, it's been really cool to see a consistent bite. We're still catching fish. We're all over the place on the water. We're from 24 feet straight out in front of the shoreline, all the way 12, 13 miles out in the middle of the lake. So we're covering water, we're covering areas, and we even got a whitefish and tulipy bite going now too. So we're catching everything up here on Lake of the Woods.
We are in the midst of a great ice fishing season. Get out there, be safe. Remember to have your picks along.
That's a big gill. Big female.
Nice, Randin. It's a beauty.
That color variation from the bulls to the females is pretty neat. These I always talk about them like ducks. Like the females are so brownish looking, where the males will get all those pretty colors on them. So.
Oh, that's, yeah, exactly it. You're
Cool
exactly
fish.
hit the nail on the head there.
Something to think about too when you're keeping these fish is that the bulls, the males carry a lot of the genetics for the size of these fish. So if you're gonna keep a few bluegills, you wanna let the big ones go, but the females are by far the best ones to keep.
Calling them back in for us, Randin.
Perfect.
Good, here they come. That's the object of these call baits. It's amazing when the pike come in, these fish start to push off. Putting down a call bait, a lot of times with these call baits too, even if they won't strike it, you can quickly drop down like a small tungsten or something a little more finesse once you've drawn them back into your location. He ate it. Challenging part is to get back down there while there's still big ones on the screen before they move on. Wow, unbelievable amount of fish. It's like looking at an aquarium, just unreal. Really a key aspect of the viewing experience is the camera panner. You have to have a panner. These little Marcum panners are valuable into keeping that camera stabilized. These are wired camera panners. They do make a wireless as well, but just with a touch of a button, I can adjust my camera back and forth. That way, if a fish knocks into it or someone trips on it or something, you can put that right back in. Sometimes just the lake current and the wind will carry your camera. If you want it stabilized, you gotta put it on a panner. There it is. There's one on the rip and wrap. Couldn't let Randin have all the fun. I had to catch one on the rip and wrap. Experimentation. I can't think of a better scenario to do so. Both of my panfish rods are set up pretty similar. I have 3 and 4 pound test. In this setting, I like 3 pound monofilament, and I've got 1 tungsten on there. I've been putting that call bait on ever since Randin started whaling them on a rip and wrap. But what I like about these panfish rods is you can see they have a really soft tip with like a strike indicator, and then really good backbone. Now obviously we're watching on camera, so I don't need the strike indicator, but with these gills, you don't want to miss them using that small tungsten, so that really good backbone in the rod is key to hooking up on these fish.
Dialed In Angling, brought to you by Onyx Fish, Marcum Technologies, Heat Hog, and by Otter Outdoors.
I hooked up Randin. We got football, fishing, food. What could be better?
Pretty tough to beat on a nice cold day like today.
Killer spread. You can't just have 3 screens going with football and fishing. You gotta have a killer spread.
Gotta have some snacks.
Wow, look at Randin's screen right now. Unbelievable. Just loaded. Almost butt heads. I had 2 almost butt heads there. They're just fighting over the bait. There you go. Rip and wrap again. Oh, another one on the rip and wrap.
A little bigger, hoping I'd call them crappies in, but
upsize that rip and wrap even.
Nice little gill.
Cool shot, right? Very cool. You know, if you watch these bluegills, see how inefficient feeders they are? You know, they miss the baits a lot. Tipping the bottom treble hook, especially like on a crankbait or a lipless crankbait like that. Yeah, we can catch them without bait, but bluegills tend to hit the jig head itself, or they'll grab the spoon, or they'll hit that rattle bait sideways. As soon as you put some bait on there, it almost gives them a target. They focus in on the hook, so your hookup percentage is way, way better if you tip it with a little bit of bait. One last fish. Always got to get one more.
One more cast.
Always got to catch one more. Oh, it's a good one too. I'll take that as my last fish. And I tell you what, if you want to have a lot of fun on the ice, it's pretty simple. Get an underwater camera, get it hooked up to a big screen TV. I know forward-facing sonar captures a lot of the headlines today, but underwater cameras still have their place. I'm a better angler as a result of underwater cameras. This bite is so attainable. You can use underwater cameras in a lot of lakes across the ice belt and have a lot of fun doing it. Randin and I have showcased how much fun this can be. Hopefully we showed you how to get dialed in.